Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk to you about classroom contextual factors presumed to heighten engaged reading and learner engagement in ongoing learning activities. Before proceeding further, I would like to express my gratitude to the panel discussion, organizers, sponsors, speakers, and attendees for taking time out of their schedule to make the London International Conference on Teaching, Education and Learning a phenomenal event. I would like to also thank my PhD thesis director, Professor Haj Guerroudj, for his support, commitment, and constructive feedback in shaping my current research project. And finally, my family, my parents, my sister, and brothers for their endless emotional support and encouragement during my academic journey. A vibrant area for educational and developmental psychologists is addressing characteristics of classroom instruction that would ameliorate engaged academic learning and significant reading comprehension. From this standpoint, student engagement became an increasingly prominent and heavily researched educational academic construct. In their influential report on the instructional context for engagement and achievement in reading, Guthrie, Wakefield, and Yu in 2012, whose recent work builds on theories of motivation, knowledge acquisition, cognition, and social development, described highly engaged, self-determining readers as motivated to read, strategic in their approaches to comprehending what they read, knowledgeable in their construction of meaning from text, and socially interactive while reading. This theoretical perspective suggests that an engaged reader is motivated, choosing to read for a variety of purposes, such as gaining new knowledge or escaping into the literary world of text. The engaged reader is knowledgeable in that he or she uses information gained from prior experiences to construct new meanings and understandings of text, and to apply knowledge gained from text in other personal, intellectual, and social contexts. The engaged reader is also strategic in terms of employing cognitive strategies to decode, interpret, comprehend, monitor, and self-regulate the reading process so that personal goals and purposes are satisfied. Finally, the engaged reader is socially interactive, able to share and communicate with others in the process of constructing and extending the meaning of text. Fredericks, Blumenfeld, and Paris, 2004, on the other hand, viewed engagement as a multidimensional construct that involves behavioral, cognitive, and emotional components in initiating and carrying out learning activities. Behavioral engagement involves, for example, energized behavior, concentration, motivated action, effort, persistence, perseverance in the face of difficulties, and challenge. Cognitive engagement draws on the idea of investment and incorporates active self-regulation, such as planning, monitoring, and revisiting one's work, or else utilization of sophisticated learning strategies such as summarizing, rehearsal, questioning, connecting existing knowledge in order to comprehend challenging concepts and accomplish difficult tasks in different domains. So just a quick note here that the use of the term effort can sometimes be quite problematic in that it is included in definitions of both cognitive and behavioral engagement. So a distinction needs to be made here between effort that is primarily behavioral, a matter of simply doing the work, and effort that is focused on learning and mastering the material. Finally, emotional engagement refers to those positive affective reactions to learning, such as interest, enthusiasm, happiness, or fun. So the opposite of engagement is called disengagement or disaffection. Whereas, for example, behaviorally disaffected learners can be passive, do not try hard, and might give up easily in the face of challenges, emotionally disaffected learners can be bored, depressed, anxious, or even angry about their presence in class. They can be withdrawn from learning opportunities or even rebellious toward teachers and classmates. Decades of psychological and educational research have also investigated classroom factors that would promote and undermine engagement. Implicit in much of this work is a view of learner engagement as a meta-construct that is responsive to contextual features and amenable to environmental change, meaning it results from an interaction of the individual with the context and is responsive to variation in environments. In fact, research has provided a wealth of detail about classroom instructional contexts presumed to have a positive directional effect on engagement, as underscored by Sinclair et al. 2003. Engagement is not conceptualized as an attribute of the student, but rather as a state of being that is highly influenced by contextual factors such as policies and practices of the school and family or peer interactions. In this regard, Guthrie et al. 2012 noted that engagement in reading is enhanced when the context in which reading occurs fosters it. Based on their engagement theoretical perspective of reading development, they suggested that the joint functioning of cognitive effort scaffolding and support for motivational processes are both central to engaged reading. In this perspective, highly engaged readers are both internally motivated and strategic, and less engaged readers show lower motivation and less use of strategies for comprehending text. So Guthrie and colleagues presented a theoretical and empirical explication of an intervention program known as concept-oriented reading instruction, abbreviated here as CORI, C-O-R-I, and which was designed to increase later elementary graders' reading comprehension and motivation for reading in educational settings. So they argue that engagement in reading is enhanced through motivational development instructional practices involving, for instance, relevance of content, for example, to foster intrinsic motivation, student choice, for example, choice of reading material to increase perceived autonomy, collaborative structures in class to enhance social motivation among learners, and enhanced cognitive strategy use through activities involving activating background knowledge, questioning, searching for information in text, or monitoring comprehension during reading. So a synthesis of all the classroom antecedents such as peer groups, classroom structure, task characteristics, and teacher support of autonomy, exemplified here as providing choice of text, for example, encouraging self-initiation of activities, absence of external control, usually exercised by teacher in class, such as grades or rewards and punishments, usually given as reasons for doing schoolwork or behaving well, and shared decision-making in actual classroom settings would merit further consideration and point to the fact that engagement is amenable and responsive to contextual factors. However, one concern about this literature is that much of current knowledge failed to examine how a given classroom factor or school factor influences all three types of engagement simultaneously. As a result, it is not yet clear which contextual factor or combination of factors have the most influence on each type of engagement. Consequently, current underlying conceptions of engagement are falling short of capturing its multifaceted nature as a construct that combines cognitive, behavioral, and emotional components. Fredericks et al. 2004 thought of engagement as a multidimensional construct, hypothesizing further that defining and examining its components in correlation allows for richer characterizations of individuals. From this standpoint, it is suggested that the fusion of behavior, emotion, and cognition under the umbrella of engagement as dynamically interrelated processes is valuable because it may provide a richer characterization of learners than is possible in research on single components only. Empirical evidence to assess the disaffected side of engagement, or what we called previously disaffection, as an engagement variable in future research in order to adequately understand how learners behave, learn, and react to different learning activities that teachers provide is also recommended by Reeve and Sang in 2011. Fredericks et al. 2004 also critically reviewed existing standard forms of measurements, including such research methods as teacher ratings, observation techniques, self-report measures, surveys, and questionnaires used to measure behavioral, cognitive, and emotional engagement, and suggested instead incorporating qualitative measurements in conjunction with self-report data in order to shed light on how the various types of engagement would develop and interact. One final point to consider is that it is not yet clear how engaged reading in classroom contexts would operate among second language learners across age, socioeconomic status, or race. So most research on engagement comes from theoretical pieces and observational studies in L1 settings involving elementary, middle, and high schools undergoing instructional reforms. So the diversity of participants in engagement studies needs to be expanded. Together, these limitations sensitize us to new avenues for understanding and improving student engagement in learning activities. So in summary, our review was based on identifying classroom factors associated with engagement and its interrelated subsets, pointing further as to how the pattern of various contextual factors would work together to influence all three types of engagement. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. And here is a detailed list of references and works cited in today's presentation. And if you have any questions or feel like you need to reach out, please do not hesitate to use the following email link, guerroudjamel@yahoo.com. Thank you all for your attention and interest in my work.